Hello there, it's Sandy from Talk of Thailand, and today's video is a question, and the question is: are the owners, operators, managers of girly bars breaking the law? May seem an odd question, but I have a reason for asking the question, and if you want to know the answers and the reasoning behind it, then please stay with me. Okay, so I'm going to try and answer the question: are the owners and operators and managers of these girly bars in Thailand, and of particular interest to me is here in Pattaya, are they breaking the law? Right. Well, as we know, these bars with all these beautiful girls, all scantily dressed in their uniforms, that stand trying to encourage customers to go inside as they walk past, are being managed. And these girls hope that in getting customers to come into the bar and hopefully buy them some lady drinks at a higher price than normal, and the fact that they can get close to these guys that come in and maybe entice them to pay a bar fine, and maybe go upstairs to one of the many short time rooms upstairs for which another payment is required, and then they can have their sexual gratification in the room and pay the girl before carrying on their wonderful day or wonderful evening around here in Pattaya. So yes, there's prostitution, and yes, prostitution is illegal. Also illegal is the facilitating prostitution, i.e. the people who own these properties, who hire these girls, who facilitate these girls, who buy their uniforms, who pay these girls, who get money from their bar fines, who get money from their drinks, who get money from the short time bars upstairs. These people, their secondary interest is selling alcohol. Their primary interest is selling sex, selling girls. That is the primary interest of the main girly bars in places like Soi 6, before Walking Street, LK Metro. There's quite a few of them around. So the answer is yes, they are breaking the law here in Pattaya, for sure, or here in Thailand, for sure. But for a long time, Thailand has been regarded as one of the sex capitals of the world, and Pattaya being the epicenter of sexual encounters in the world, for good and for bad, for the girls, for the boys, for the lady boys, and also, unfortunately, for children. But the police have done a good job, and they have cleared a lot of the horrible aspects to it up. But Thailand has still been very reliant on the large number of tourists that come here to avail themselves of the services of these girls, particularly Pattaya, Hua Hin, Cham, and the other tourist centres, Phuket. They all have the girly bars, and they're all working to get the tourists in there and give the guys good nights and get their money from them. Prostitution is the main the main work for the girls, and it's the main income for the chain from the girls upwards through the managers to the owners, etc. So it could all change, you know. They've accepted it in the past. They've turned a blind eye. The authorities have turned a blind eye. The police, the government, the main government, and the local governments have all turned a blind eye to it. Even immigration has turned a blind eye to it. So, with a few minor occurrences of raids on various bars, etc., now and again, and the closing down and the prosecution of some people to make it look as though there's an effort being made, the majority have been allowed to carry on unimpeded. But that could change very, very soon. Pattaya is changing. All it takes is one change in the higher authorities, in either the police, the army, the government, the local government, the immigration, And this could all change. And I'm betting that one day it is going to change, for sure. And there will be big, big changes, and there will be a lot of heartaches and problems for people involved in this industry, because they want to change. They want to get rid of this very bad reputation that has evolved around Thailand and places such as Pattaya, and clean it up and make it an attractive place for normal, good money spending tourists. We want to bring their families, stay in these beautiful hotels that they're building, use the wonderful facilities that are getting built and provided, the water parks, the beautiful golf courses round about, the beaches that have all been tidied up and made nice. There's a lot of things to do here in Thailand to enjoy a good holiday here. And that's what Pattaya is aiming for. And that's what Thailand is aiming for, I'm sure. I remember back in the 90s, you know, I remember in the 90s, the Pattaya was virtually run by the Germans, actually. The big mafia in town was the Germans. And they run a big host of these various girly bars and undercover sex shops, all the rest of it. And once again, the authorities were turning a blind eye and putting up with it, and everybody was enjoying the rewards of what was happening in these downtown areas, the dens of iniquity. So that all went very well until late 90s, when suddenly, for some reason or other, they say out of the blue, but it wasn't out of the blue, they changed their minds. They wanted the German mafia out. Now, to the German mafia, it came as a total surprise. There'd been nothing showing, nothing bubbling that they were aware of, but one day it was announced, get these German mafia out of Thailand. And everywhere that had German mafia was raided. And even the top guy, who was a billionaire, was taken from his home in the day. He tried to say, can I have a lawyer? Can I see that? Do I have time to pack? No, just come with us. And they took him to a detention centre in Bangkok, along with a few others. And within 2 or 3 days, he had been deported back to Germany, where the Germans were waiting for them to then carry on with proceedings that were waiting for them there in Germany. And they were prosecuted in Germany and banged up back there, so I believe. I haven't followed it exactly, but I know that there were some serious crimes to be answered back in Germany. So, let's come back to the present. There's a lot of people, and I'm not descrying them. They've set out their own stalls. They are running these bars, and they are making. I hope they're making money, or trying hard to make money, and they're pretty fearless. I don't know how many are aware that just how serious this could become for them. They ought to think about it. But what has caused this video is that just yesterday, actually, I was watching on YouTube, and I saw one of these bosses of probably one of the biggest girly bar operators definitely the biggest girly bar operator in Pattaya, doing his own YouTube, and he was telling them how he was trying to recruit managers from young guys from between the ages of 25 up to 40 years old to manage these bars. And he could make it sound like a very interesting and a fun job, being here in Pattaya and working with all the girly girls, some beautiful girls down there, managing the bars. There was long hours, but there's a lot of fun to be had, intermingling with customers and getting a wage each month. I don't know how much, you didn't mention that, but I'm sure that a lot of guys watching that would think, oh, that's for me. I could do that job. I'd love to do that job. Go to Pattaya, enjoy the thrills of Pattaya, and get paid for it. Yes, sounds good. What he didn't mention was that you would actually be going into a job where you would immediately start breaking the law. and have the possibility of being arrested, fined, imprisoned here in Thailand. So that needs to be taken into consideration as well. If you want to take those risks, good on you. I certainly wouldn't want any of my relations or my family being involved in that, for sure. And I certainly wouldn't want to hear that they got banged up in Thailand for running prostitutes and bars, etc. But that could happen very easily, and it could happen in the very near future, actually. And what about the UK? Many of these people would say, well, what about the UK? It's got nothing to do with them. Well, that isn't quite true, actually, because it's got a lot to do with the UK. Because in the UK, there's a Sexual Offences Act of 2003, which covers all sorts of obviously sexual crimes, and there's a couple of particular sections of that Sexual Offences Act that people should be aware of here in Thailand, because indeed it affects them. Now this act particularly defines, don't forget that prostitution, in basic prostitution now in the UK is not illegal, but certainly facilitating it, pimping, pandering, procuring, causing, inciting, etc. Prostitution for gain, that's all illegal, and it can result to people getting imprisoned for up to 7 years, and gets them definitely put on the Sexual Offenders Act list for the rest of their natural. I don't think anybody could comfortably want that. I'm sure it's not a nice title to be hanging on your shoulder, actually. So the people in Thailand say, well, what the fuck's that got to do with us? We're not in the UK. We're not breaking the UK laws. Except there is one aspect, and it's Section 52 brackets 1 of the Sexual Offences Act 2003 that states, a person commits an offence if he intentionally causes or incites another person to become or act in prostitution in any part of the world. So these UK people that are working here, running these bars, enabling the prostitution here in Pattaya, Bangkok, or any other place in Thailand, if they're from UK, they're actually breaking UK law as well. But no doubt they think that they say, well, they don't know what I'm doing in the UK. I wouldn't like to bet on that, actually, not in this day and age where information is so easily available and everything is getting watched everywhere. If you're involved in these activities here in Pattaya or anywhere else in Thailand, and you've been in any contact with the police or local government and etc., the chances are that that information has been fed back through the embassies, back through the Home Office, and everybody in the UK that matters, that is involved in this, probably knows who you are. And that's a scary fact as well, because it means if you went back to the UK, they could be waiting for you. You could be picked up at the airport. Probably not, I would think, but it's possible if you're one of the big guys. But where it would come into real effect is if you got into some sort of trouble in the UK. Then when they've done a data search on you, all of this would come up. What you're doing here would be open to them, and that all adds to the charge list. And the police said they like to make a bigger charge list as possible to ensure that they get the convictions that they want. Now, okay, prostitution is one aspect, and the other thing that concerns me about these people that they want to get in and involve in the management of the prostitutes, etc., in these dark areas, particularly around Pattaya, Soi 6, LK Metro, some of the bars in Soi Buakhao, etc. There's an underbelly, there's a dark underbelly to Pattaya, and it's not only prostitution. There's money laundering. There's a lot of that going on. There's drugs. There's a lot of drugs going around. I don't know much about drugs, but I hear them talking about ice, cannabis, and 2 or 3 other things that is being handed out or sold in these places where people socialise. Soy 6, Soy Bacau, LK Metro. Walking Street's pretty quiet at the moment, but I don't even know if that's going to come back into play. Probably, but as a much cleaned up act, I think. So there's that dark underbelly to take into consideration as well. Because although you may say, well, I'm not going to have anything to do with that, that is very easy to say at the outset. But as the people here I've heard admitting, saying it's difficult not to get involved in it because it happens, and it's happening right under your nose. And if you're managing a business or an organisation where it's happening, you are aware of it. And sometimes just being aware of it going on is a crime, and you can be prosecuted for it. For knowing it's going on and for ignoring it is a crime. So, it's a job. I think it's a very dangerous job. It's not a particularly well rewarded job. And it's a job that could maybe affect all of your life. So, I would say to you, before applying for one of these managers' jobs here in Pattaya or anywhere where you're going to get involved with the running of these girly bars, please think about it, think twice, because it could be a serious mistake. Just as a last input, I would like to say that there's a lot of guys out here, foreigners, who run bars that are not really girly bars. Their prime interest is still selling food and alcohol and getting customers in to enjoy the facilities in the bar. And in all fairness, some of the girls that work for them, they do facilitate prostitution as well. But that is not the prime purpose of the bars. And I don't have any objection to that, because they're staying away from this dark underbelly of Pattaya as much as they can, while still facilitating what the customers are wanting. So that's that. So anyway, that's the information. You have it now. You can make your own decisions. You can make your own comments. I know that a lot of you are maybe going to be a bit annoyed with me for talking about this, but it's been swept under the carpet for too long. And a lot of people, I feel, could end up going to jail or getting bad reputations, criminal records, being labelled as sex offenders for just coming here to Pattaya to enjoy themselves. So anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please subscribe, click the like the video, press the bell, do all these things that's normal. I ask you to do that. I would really appreciate it. But most of all, please stay safe and keep away from this COVID-19, and hopefully the world will get back to some form of normality sometime soon. Thanks again. Bye for now.